Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Change the Shed. It is January 8th, 2025, and I hope you're all having a good new year so far. Welcome. Happy you're here. This is the program I do a couple times a month. So I'll be back on January 29, which is actually 3 weeks from now. I'll be teaching a retreat in Taos starting next week, and it sort of goes over 2 Wednesdays. So I'll be back on the 29th, and I can't wait to have something new for you then, hopefully. I had a good holiday, but I had a few family things that took more time than I thought. So I actually have a fairly old piece for you, but a couple interesting little problems. So maybe it will be fun to see it again. And let's see, anything else? The Tapestry Discovery Box opens next week. This new box is about hatching. So this is a very important concept for Tapestry. I am showing you, if you've never done hatching, how to do it. But for those of you who are more advanced, we're going to look at some different ways to use hatching. That will be a lot of fun. And then, so you can join the Tapestry Discovery Box either. Here's the little thing. You can go here on my website or just go to tapestryweaving.com and look for the Tapestry Discovery Box and sign up through Gist Yarn. There's a link there for that. And then I'll have some new things about Change the Shed in 3 weeks on the 29th. So come then to hear what things I'm updating and changing for this program. I hope you'll be excited about that. And January is a good time to start weaving. If you have wanted to take a class or something, I recommend perhaps this class, Introduction to Tapestry Weaving. It's only $39 and it's a great intro into tapestry. So I know a lot of you here have taken this class, but if you're new, you've never been here before, and you'd like a class with video that sort of supports the content in my book, this is a great class to start with. So Introduction to Tapestry Weaving, you can just go here to tapestryweaving.com and look under online learning for information. All right, I hope to see a bunch of you in the Tapestry Discovery Box or Intro to Tapestry. So that's what's going on for the rest of my January. I'm happy that you're here from all over. Karen's working on her first tapestry diary. Awesome, Karen. Paula's here from Vermont. Sybil is soon on her way over the pond to the United States. I'm excited about that, Sybil. Deborah's here from North Carolina. Mary Lou from Cape Cod. Julie's here from Kirkland. Just got the copper pipe stuff. Yay! Copper pipe looms are really fun. Basically, Mirax looms that I'll be working on today are just fancy pipe looms. Christine from Canada. Nan's here from New York. Scotland. Nice to Nettles is here from Scotland. Just made another copper pipe loom. Hooray for copper pipe looms. Margaret is here from Sweden. Janice is here from Oregon. Carolyn is here from North Wales. Erin has a snow day. I think that's probably good. You sound happy about it, Erin. Barbara's here from San Diego. Kathleen's here from the East Coast, Vermont. Just started her tapestry diary. Fantastic. Susie's here from California. Happy everybody is here. I failed to remind people that we were doing Change the Shed today, so we may have a smaller group, but that is always fine. And no, you can always go back and watch all of the old episodes. I just looked yesterday and there are 140 of them. So if you need 140 hours worth of entertainment, not quite. They're only 45 minutes, most of them, but I don't know if entertainment's the right word, but there's a lot of interesting things in some of those episodes. And if you don't know, on my website, tapestryweaving.com, under online learning, there's a thing that says Change the Shed. And I have referenced all of the episodes with a picture of what I was weaving on. And then there's all kinds of show notes with links to resources and stuff. So if you're looking for a different kind of project you want to see me weaving, go back to that and look for some of the old episodes. All right, let me just show you what I'm working on today. You're not going to be too surprised, those of you who've been around for a while. Ta-da! This is a piece that I have been working on for a while. I know it's been a while because it was supposed to be a gift for someone whose birthday was in September. And then I decided that she was probably not going to really like this tapestry very much. So I have not finished it. But we're almost to the end. It's fringeless for salvage. And here's the top of the tapestry. And actually all of the complicated stuff has been done. So we just need to fill it in. Fill in the rest of this. So I'm doing this sort of white background and there's a piece of silk in there. If you saw me weave the wildflowers tapestry, this is the same combination I used for that. I liked it so much I wanted to try it here. It's 3 strands of the bleached white faro yarn, the Swedish yarn, with 1 strand of silk in natural from Trinway Silks, who has fantastic silks. That's a Colorado business that I really like. And then there's little bits of the same white yarn mixed with array. And this part was also done with array. This part is a double set. So on a fringeless for salvage warp, you can split the warps and do something that is a little bit finer in detail. So that's what that was all about. So let's fill this in. And when I sat down to see whether I wanted to work on this today, to show you all, I realized that there was a nice little shedding problem here, so we can look at that to start with. Yeah, Erin said it's her 3rd day of snow days in Kansas. Kind of nice sometimes when you get enough snow, you get a snow day. Yata Davina, glad you're here from probably not too far from where I am. I'm in Mancos, Colorado, which is near Cortez, so I'm just over the Colorado state line from New Mexico, where I grew up. And thanks, Anne, but you are entertaining. I don't know, some days maybe. Yeah, Sherry, I heard there were some fires in California. Sherry says there's fires there. My niece lives in Pasadena, so I'm a little bit worried about the fire stuff that's happening there. Paula's here from the UK. Lois from Nova Scotia. Oh, yay, I'm glad you're getting the new tapestry box. It will be shipped on the 15th. And those of you in the box, I'll be sending you an email today or tomorrow. There's some changes and they are fairly minor, but I just want you all to know how you access the box. And the plus part of it for everybody is that if you buy a box, you get to keep the course content forever. No more of this like taking people out, putting them in, all of that subscription model stuff. We're just gonna, if you buy a box, you get the course content forever. So that will be a big relief to me and to all of you. All right, let's work on this thing. So, gosh, I don't remember the last time I worked on this, but it was probably October or November. So I've done this thick line here with an eccentric split weft outline to make it smooth like it is at the bottom. But I have a little square in here and I need to add another weft of the white to fill this in. And I want it to work, I want to leave it in because I want to end up with 4 wefts, butterflies of the white as I fill the rest of this in. And so I had a shedding problem in that this weft was in meet and separate with this weft, but this whole part is out of order. And now that I think about that, this probably still won't work, but it will work for a little bit. And then we can, because this will be going the same direction as this one. So I'll probably have to reset this butterfly to make it all work. But for the moment, what I was most concerned about was that I'd be able to weave this weft along here. And I started it just before we got on camera in here and realized it was in the wrong shed. So I'm going to shift the shed with this little trick. If you're doing some eccentric weaving, you can just bring the weft all the way down if it's a shallow curve. And you want to make sure you get enough weft in there but that will shift the shed here and allow me to weave this the way I want to. Okay, so I think that is going to work. And then this tail, I'm just going to pop to the back right there. And we're not going to worry about this side for a little bit. Right now, let's work on getting this higher up. So I am not using the shedding device on the Mirex with this fringeless piece. Sometimes I do. You totally can. Just for whatever reason, I never put it on for this piece, and it's kind of calming to pick the warp, actually. For small things, sometimes it's actually faster. I'm going to tighten this tension a little bit. This has been sitting for a while, and this is a cotton warp here, and so yeah, that's better. It sometimes will stretch a little bit, or with humidity changes, or just if you haven't woven for a while. So now I can see here that that is going to be in the right shed. Right here, as I put this in, that will be in the correct shed, and before it was in the wrong shed. Ooh, this is actually, it's a little bit too tight. I'm going to back it off half a turn. All right. Jackie, I like that. Jackie says she got 9 inches of snow Sunday and Monday, and so she's weaving the word snow. I think it's a great thing to weave. Lois, yes, you'll still have, she's asking about the Tapestry Discovery Box. Yes, you'll still have access to the past boxes, Lois, so no worries on that. We're making it a lot simpler, I think, for everybody with the Tapestry Discovery Box change. It's just that it will mean that I have to sort of manually add everybody every quarter. So it just means that the box won't automatically open on the 15th. You'll get access to the box about the time that your yarn arrives. Maybe sooner. If you're an ongoing subscriber, you'll probably get access on the 16th or 17th of the quarter. And your box will be here a few days later. That's really the only change for people who are just long-term subscribers. Okay, let's look at this. So I'm meeting this. There's about 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, great. So now I'm a little bit behind on this part. Probably would be a little bit better for change the shed if I did have the shedding device, because my hand wouldn't be in the way so much. All right, let's look at this side. Yeah, I need one more sequence here. And excuse my head a minute. I need to, yeah, these are coming together. I'm sitting to the side of the tapestry. So, oh, hang on. Let me just back up just a tiny bit. So these warps are coming together a little bit on the edge. It might actually be even hard to see that, but just trying to keep everything even. And also, I highly recommend, I don't maybe say this enough in beginning classes, but measuring the width of your piece frequently. Oh, good. I'm right on 10 and an eighth, and this is 10 and an eighth. The only way to really know if you're drawing in or not is to measure. So, or if you use a loom, like a floor loom with a beater with a reed in it, and you pull it forward, that'll tell you too. But if you're using a loom like this, measuring frequently is a good tip. Oh, I'm getting a hold of my head of myself there. Let's do this one. More like that, Nan? Or was it good once I probably backed it out enough so you could see the edge. Let me just keep this from refocusing. See if that helps. If I put my head in front of it, it definitely doesn't like it. Okay, so now these should be in meet and separate. Hooray! All right, so I can weave over the top. Notice that I'm holding, maybe you can't see that, I'm holding this shed open as I put this through because I don't want to drag this wet. This is pretty tight warp. Merex looms are capable of warps that are actually too tight. And so if I don't hold this open as I pull the yarn through, I'm dragging the yarn through the shed. Those of you who use looms without shedding devices, pay attention. You don't want to do that because it, especially if you're using wool, it just frays the yarn and you'll have a very fuzzy tapestry. So yeah, this is working. This shedding is all correct now since I did that eccentric pass there. All right, so now I want to put another one of those little boxes in and let's put it right there. I'm going to use, I think I decided to use this is a Cocoa 5. This is Array for the little colors. And I'm not even sure, do I have any of that in here? Yeah, right there. So I'm mixing 3 of the Faro and 1 of the Array. I've taken the silk out of that bundle just to make it even in size. I guess I could have left the silk and taken out 1 strand of the Faro, but let's pigtail this just for fun. There's just 2. I feel really clumsy picking the shed. It's sort of sitting to the side, and anyway, it's much faster if you're sitting right in front of your tapestry. So if it looks awkward, it is awkward in this position, but it won't be for you because you'll be sitting right in front. All right, let's do 1 more. Okay. Fairly certain I did all of these like this. right. Gonna put another, oh, maybe I'm not. I've never done this on a tapestry. Maybe one from Summer of Tapestry. I've never actually embroidered on a tapestry, but this piece, I wanted to put a bunch of dots at the edge of this thing. And so I was gonna say I was gonna put another square right there, but I think I'm not going to. I may put it up a little bit higher. There's nothing wrong with embroidering on your tapestry. It's just not traditional. It was not how I was taught. But I've seen some adorable things that you all have done that include embroidery. I could absolutely have put those dots in as I was weaving, but I did not. Basically, I'll just take a piece of weft on a needle and poke it up from the back end. Do what you would do with the weaving, like make a stitch in between the other, in between the sequences. I'm not going to put like French knots, but we'll see. I'll try it and see if I like it. All right. Going to need more of that. Just gonna splice this. Plenty of room. I've not been clipping the silk off. I've been stitching that in a little bit, but the wool ends can be clipped off. Usually. Depends on some things, but for the way I weave, yes. Okay, we've got 4 there, so we've matched those. And these are all in meet and separate, so these can come back together. I'm not stitching these because they're so small. Don't think it's worth it, but you could if you wanted to. The slits, I'm not stitching the slits. Those of you who are doing Tapestry Diaries, have you seen Tommy Scanlon's new book? I think some of you have because you've told me that's what your inspiration was. But Tommy Scanlon's new book is called Marking Time. One of these days soon, I will have a blog post up about that book. But it's a beautiful book and it's a lot of fun. And it came out in November, maybe? I'm not sure when the publication date was. I don't think I got mine until November. All right, awesome. Cool, okay, so there's a lot of somewhat boring weaving going ahead. Let's bring this up a little bit more and then put another one of those blocks in there. Archie Brennan has a quote that people say a lot, which I won't get right, but it's something about tapestry weaving being frequently boring. And for some of us, that's a nice thing. Lois says she has it. Reading it now. Awesome. Hi, Susan from Pittsburgh. Happy you're here. Yeah, the Marketing Time book from Tommy Scanlon is a look at a bunch of people who use fiber art to do calendars or somehow mark time. I think she included some of my Iceland pictures in that book. So there's a couple pages of my work in there, which I'm honored to have included. All right, let's see. Wider. This is a wider tapestry fork than this one. They're both from Magpie. I don't know that she makes these anymore. This was an older model, maybe one that John made, who owned the business before Becky, but I think she makes one like this that's a little narrower. Magpie Woodworks. They make great forks. Thanks, Marla. Marla says it's not boring. Zen-like weaving. I often really like it when I get to a spot where things are just really easy. I've started a new set of tapestries for a show I'm going to be in this year, if everything works out. A show with just one other person. And I'll tell you more about that on the 29th if you come. But there are large areas of just color gradation, and it's very calming to, in the piece I'm working on right now, very calming to work on that. All right, let's see. I don't want to add too many squares just because I'm bored, so just evaluating how I've done the rest of them in this piece. Or just because I want to show you all something besides plain weaving is the real reason. So this will keep climbing up here, and then when I get up here, I'm going to have a shedding issue with this. So I will probably just cut this weft off and start, or leave it here and start a butterfly in the other direction. Actually, I could show you that. If I just, so if we look at the shed here, wait, let me get a shed stick. If we look at the shed here, that's all in the same shed, but this is going this way, and this one was also going this direction. So if I change the direction of this weft to go the other way, So in this shed, it went this way, and I need it to go the other way. That will shift the shed. I actually have a whole class about fixing your sheds. If this is a problem for you, look in Path right under workshops, and there's a whole class about how to fix your sheds. So if I open this other shed, let's just use a shed stick for a second. So the next shed here is like this. And it should be the same shed as this one. The pick shed. So yes, I just did the pick shed. And so Susan, that's awesome. She said she thought it was broken. You didn't say that you thought I was broken, but she thought the sound on her TV was broken because it was so quiet. So this one would have come back in this shed, and instead no, this one went this way, so we want this one to go this way. So we'll have a tail on the edge, which is okay. So yes, they're both in the pick shed and they're in meet and separate. So that is how that could be fixed, and that will matter when I get up to the top. So now I have my wefts sort of fixed for the rest of the piece. I just add those little squares between two wefts, and I don't shift the shed for those because I don't need to, because they're squares. So they have slits on the edges. Just a little bit of cheating, which is totally fine. Let's see, this is also the pick shed. Let's just use a little, I'll make this faster for, if I use a shed stick and then open, so I'm turning it sideways. And then that holds the shed for me, so I can do this. Or of course, if you are using the shedding mechanism, you could just do that. I make little balls of this. I actually applied this on my spinning wheel for that wildflowers piece. Had plenty of leftover, so that's what we're using. Applying isn't necessary, but when you're weaving a really big tapestry, it can be nice to do it that way, to put together the 3 yarns in a bundle. See if I can talk and splice at the same time. I do it for my large tapestries because I need a lot of yarn for that. And so pulling 3 strands off of 3 different balls for every single time I need more yarn is more time intensive than just plying them together on the spinning wheel. And I'm using singles. So I don't necessarily recommend doing this at all with, like if you're using just a ray or another 2-ply yarn. But the Pharaoh is a singles yarn, and the Harrisville Kohler singles that I use is a really nice singles yarn. So it's very happy to be plied. All right, so I think we could almost put in another one of those little boxes. Probably getting in front of the camera there, aren't I? The weaving started to feel too easy, so I realized I must be in the way. just climbing right up there. And the split weft outline I did here, which I think I maybe probably did on the last episode of Change the Shed where I worked on this piece. So you can look at those thumbnail images on my website and find that episode if you want to see how I did this really smooth line. Okay, let's think about putting another box right in there. In what color? Got yellow there. Maybe this green, if I have it here. Yeah. Let's see. Let's put that box in next. I don't remember the angle that I built this with. This seems like it's working fine. I just step over one each time. But if it starts to look weird, then I'll adjust that. Sometimes with angles, you do know exactly how you made them if they're a straight diagonal. And then you just do the same thing as you fill it in. But it doesn't have to be exact. All right, let's do that. I have 3 greens here. Lime 5, Meadow 5, and Ocean 6. This one was Ocean. I wonder if that was also, I'm not sure what that was. Let's do, this might have been the lime. Let's repeat the Ocean from here over here, just as a design thing. Oh, that's a good question, Paula. I think you're asking about eccentric weaving, right? She said the curve seems to take up about half the width of the piece. Is there a guideline for the width of the curve so the piece isn't distorted? So if you do eccentric weaving, and those of you who took the eccentric weaving Tapestry Discovery box last year, I think it was a year ago to right now, we played with this a lot. When will the fabric buckle and when will it stay? So it has more to do with how high you weave eccentrically than how wide it is, although I'm sure the width has something to do with it, Paula. And I don't have a guideline. I mostly only do eccentric passes that are a few sequences. I don't usually build them up this much, so that will be an interesting thing to see. If there is any buckling in this fabric, because of this, it's going to be slight. And this piece will be mounted, so I think I can accommodate for that. But yeah, the height is more of an issue, I think, than the width, but I don't actually know if there's a physics reason for, if there's some sort of physical formula you could use. I don't know. I don't think so, but let's see. This way. That's a good question. We'll find out whether it buckles or not as soon as I get it off. I'll have to bring it back and show it to you all. Certainly I can have it off the loom by the 29th, right? Well, you don't all want to see me weave all this white either, so. Thanks, Nan. I like this sweater too. I did not knit it. It is a commercial cotton sweater, which I've had forever. But it is the sort of sweater that would be fun to knit. Okay, fairly sure. I keep making these yarn pieces too long for those boxes. Okay, great. Let's see if we like that. I think that will be okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's 12 after. I didn't even realize what time it was, y'all. Just waving away. Well, clearly we're not going to have anything else exciting on this piece today. So if you have any other questions about it, let me know. And I will see if I can get it finished. And we'll answer Paula's question about the buckling on the 29th, if we're lucky. If not, just keep coming. It'll be done eventually. I've got 2, I need 4. So let me do 2 more sequences. One of the tricks in terms of weaving something, if I'm not exactly sure I'm going to return to it later that day or the next, if I'm not going to return to it soon, even if I am returning the next day, I forget what it is I was supposed to be doing. So I try to leave the piece in a place where I don't cause myself trouble. And I do sometimes write myself notes on the big pieces of, don't forget you have to put this color in next, or things like that. So in this case though, I'm just gonna weave this whole block so I know that's ready to go over the top. Then I'll just fill that in and bring this back in. I'm going to add at least 1 more block over here, and I'll probably add 1 up here, and that will be the whole tapestry. Yeah, I think it's been a fun one, but ready to be finished with it. Yeah, Paula says she had a small piece with curves distort like a wedge weave when she took it off the loom. So yeah, that would be a really fun experiment, Paula. It would be to, here's an assignment. Any of you who are fascinated by eccentric weaving, it would be fun to do a bunch of samples or small pieces where you played with where that edge is. It also depends on the materials, the loom you're using. All of those things are variables, but if you played with how much eccentric weaving you could do and still get a fabric that was flat, if that's what you wanted, or getting whatever other effect you wanted, that would be a fun project, says the teacher who always wants to know how things work. All right, you all, thanks for coming. It was kind of fun to just weave that white today, but we'll try to get that done and get a new piece going for the 29th. So I hope you join me. That's another Wednesday. And we will talk about new things for Change the Shed in 3 weeks. All right, everybody, have a wonderful new year. And I'm so grateful to you all for coming. Oh, hold on. For those of you who care, I had a surprise visitor or two. This is Beaumont, and he says hello. He does not know what a camera is. And his sister, come here, bud. This is Sally. So they say hello, and yeah, they're doing well. They had a great holiday. They got new coats, so it was cold here, and they got little Dotson jackets. All right, y'all, have a really great month of January, and I'll see a bunch of you in the online classes. Till next time, bye-bye.